Hello, everybody, and welcome to Create Your Best Chapter podcast. My name is Vera Ilnyckyj, and I am a life and career coach, and I help women create the best chapter of their life. And I'm really excited today to have Lyndsie Barrie on my podcast. Lyndsie is the founder of YYC Frontpreneurs, which is a community dedicated to supporting female entrepreneurs and helping them grow their businesses online. She's a marketing strategist, a business coach, a podcast host, a speaker, and the author of 6 books. And while writing her first book in 2016, she found her true calling, which is helping women earn more money from their talents by showing them how to market their businesses online. Lyndsie also happens to be my coach and my marketing strategist, and I'm really grateful to her for helping me create this next new chapter of my business and my life. And Lyndsie, I'm so excited to have you back on my podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed our last conversation, and I'm really excited to see where this one goes. A whole other version of the story, perhaps.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, and one of the things that I admire a lot of things about you, but one of the things that I really admire about you is that you have created a lot of different chapters in your life based on different experiences that you've had, and you've always had this vision and these wonderful goals for yourself. And I'm really curious to just dive into one of those chapters. So maybe just let me know, or let our audience know, a key situation in your life where you made a decision to start a new chapter of your life.
Oh, well, I am living in a new chapter right now. I'm currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, which is a dream I've had, a lifestyle design choice I've had and been making for years. And lifestyle design really is a choice, and I've made a lot of choices over the years, a lot of decisions. Some would call them sacrifices. I think I've called them that before, but I've decided to stop saying that word. I'm calling them choices and decisions. And I've wanted to be able to bring my dog, who is right here. He's, being all noisy right now and shaking and scratching and moving around, but bring him all the way to Mexico. He's a big border collie, and I had to put him in the cargo area of the plane to get him here so that I could live and work and be steps from the beach and not do winter for the first time in my life. I'm 42, and this is my first time completely skipping winter. So yeah, that's the chapter that I just came into this year because my son graduated from high school and he's adulting now, and I'm able to do it. So here we are.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And I know a lot of people are watching your journey and maybe feeling a little bit, well, maybe a little bit envious, but also probably a little bit aspirational. Like, look, she can do it. That means I can do it. And just really just seeing how you're doing it. And I think you're giving them that belief that they can do it themselves as well. And something that you said, which is really, really important, and something that I've been talking about a lot lately too, is making a choice and making a decision. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you make that choice, or how do you make that decision in your life to go after what it is that you want to go after and then go make it happen?
Well, I think we often chase things that aren't meant for us. We often get ideas in our head that we want things that we don't actually want. And so once you figure out what you really do want, and you've even sampled it. And so, for example, I came here to this area of Mexico a few times, and I did a couple video calls on my third time coming here. Like, I wasn't just on vacation. I even traveled to a couple different places, and kept trying this whole work from anywhere thing to see if I liked it, because sometimes people really do need vacations. They feel like they want to take a break from work, and I tried that and I never really liked it. I always want to share my ideas, my marketing tips that pop into my brain. I always want to share stuff with my audience. My fempreneurs are they're in my heart. They're with me all the time. So why would I take a break from that? So I guess the choices that I've made have been about where I put my money and where I put my time and focus. And for me, I don't throw a lot of money at, expensive vacations, expensive material possessions. I am more of a experienced person in the sense of, like, where can I live and work that is like super, super nice, but do it in a way that is sustainable, and that I can also do it in a way where, like you were saying, I could take others along on the journey and give them the step-by-step info, and know that anyone who makes, some money can do it too. Like I don't ever want to. That's also why I don't use gadgets and pay for expensive apps and things, because in my marketing, I want to show fempreneurs who maybe are brand new or have a very small marketing budget, and they can go out and do the things that I'm doing, the exact things that I'm doing without having to throw a lot of money at it. So I'm always finding shortcuts and really inexpensive ways to do the things that feel good for me. And I've discovered through, just camping and being in the wilderness and living in really, well, actually I have like a whole story about that. Maybe we'll get to that later, about like, I kind of like brought my living situation here in Mexico down to like a very bare bones place that I stayed in that was like a little too rustic. And then I now am back in my more upscale, glamorous accommodations. And I'm like, now I'm at home. This is where I want to be. So I've tried all the things, and you really do have to try things, because if you don't try it, you don't know if it feels right. And you could be chasing something that you don't actually want, but you've never lived it. So you don't know if you want it.
Mhm. And I think maybe that's one way of tapping into your intuition, because I think, and you and I have talked about this a lot, is that we're programmed and conditioned to do what society tells us to do. Like, this is how things are done. This is what you should do. This is how you should live your life. This is what work looks like. And I think that someone like you and other people that are doing their own thing out there are just breaking those patterns and really following their heart's desire. And I feel like when you follow your heart's desire, you figure out what it is that you really want to do and what your purpose is in the world, then it doesn't matter so much about what the shoulds are, what society says you should do, or sort of what the norm is. It's like, just do what you want to do, be happy,
Mhm.
make the choice that you're going to do that and not care about what other people think, and just live your life, right?
Yeah, and financial decisions often cripple, I think, businesses that should be viable. I think people tend to buy into a lot of the expensive living choices because they're seeing others doing it, or they're watching too many ads and they're buying things that don't actually bring them joy, and those decisions end up crippling their business, meaning they don't now have $100 to put into Instagram ads to pump this new lead magnet that they put out there, or they don't have money to hire a business coach, or they don't have money to go, to this big event and hear all these speakers that are going to teach them things they need. Like every dollar that comes into our bank account when we're a business owner, it's either business or personal. Like I know we have to separate our money, business, personal, but every dollar that comes into our life when we're a business owner has the potential to grow our business. And it also has the potential to cripple our business if we spend it on things that take away from our business. And so I got really good at trading off the happiness, the short-term happiness. I don't know how I want to say that. I guess that I got really good at playing the long game with my money when I was living really cheap. I had this vision for my business. Everything was going really well, but I was feeling like the money wasn't coming in as fast, but I knew that it could and I knew that it would. So I think that women who are feeling like that just really need to dial in on their spending and really look at where their money's going, because we often part with our money in hopes that it will return happiness to us. We put money out and we think that it's going to pay us back in happiness. And unless we really pay attention, we often don't realize that a lot of things we're spending money on aren't bringing us happiness. And as a business owner, that can result in us having to shut our business down and go get a job.
Well, and whether you have a business or not have a business, it really is about where you are putting your money. I mean, we all make money and we all have the choice to make about where and how we spend our money. And I think, I don't know who said this, but it's kind of out there, like, show me your bank account and I'll show you what you value, kind of thing. Like, where are you spending your money is what you value. And I heard recently too that, really the only way to grow and develop as a person, whether you're a business owner or whether you're a woman who's really looking to up level her life or create that true purpose and happiness in her life, it really is about where you're investing your money on yourself, right? Whether it's self-care, whether it's listening to or hiring, someone that can help you, coach you, support you, mentor you, whether it's
Mhm.
getting therapy. Like, it's not always in the material things. Now, some things material are going to bring us a little bit of happiness,
Yeah.
and if it really brings you joy, awesome, right? We want to create a beautiful environment around ourselves, and we want to
Mhm.
do things that are really bringing us joy, whether those are experiences. But it really, I really take your point to heart because it really is about where you are investing your money, like looking at it as an investment versus, well, this is a lot of money and I don't really know where it's going to take me. For example, if you're looking to invest in some sort of programs or coaching or personal
Mhm.
development stuff, sometimes we don't know where that's going to lead us. But the reality is, it is going to lead us way more down that right path than buying a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And we really learn that the hard way always, right? We do the wrong thing and then we're like, "Oh, I wish I could have that $300 back that I spent on a concert that I wish I would have put into my business."
Mhm.
And I did that and I screwed up and I spent a bunch of money on beer and partying and I was like, "Oh, and now I have this opportunity that I didn't even know was coming to go on this to go to this conference and now I don't have the money because I blew it all on the weekend." And so we learn things the hard way. But I just
Yeah.
invite people to really look at how they're spending their money, especially the business owners out there, because that's really what's gonna that's the choices and the decisions. Some call it sacrifices. Maybe I sacrificed a fun concert so that I could put that money into my business, but I would like to call that a choice or a decision instead of a sacrifice.
Yeah, 100%. So, how do you listen to your intuition or to God? Like when how do you know that it's time to make a choice that's best for you?
Well, I think I was lucky that I grew up going to church and I grew up in youth group and summer camp, and I grew up with some really cool mentors that just kind of brainwashed me at a young age that there is a higher power out there, and that God is leading me down a path that's meant for me, and um that really you have to have faith that that's happening, and you have to have faith that God has a plan for you, and that he's taking you into this life and to help these people that you're meant to do and help. Because if you don't think like that, and I've met a lot of these people, you are so worried and so stressed all the time. And then I and then on the extreme other end of that, I met some real woo-woo people, particularly maybe in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, honestly. And they have this philosophy, I think, that's a little too far in the spiritual realm. And it's like they're not really doing things to grow their businesses. They're just like listening to these manifestation recordings and they're not really doing any work. And I'm like, that's not gonna help you. So yeah, spiritually, I pray when I'm stressed out. I give it to God. I i just trust that some of the visions that I've had for my future were placed on my heart for a reason, and I've just, yeah, I don't know. I also think too, looking at some things that I knew I didn't want to have happen in my life, like you see your parents, and as much as you love them and respect them, you also see them doing things and you're kind of like, why are you doing that? And you just want to do things differently, and that's not really a spiritual thing, but God definitely has saved me from ending up in the loony bin over and over again.
Yeah. That actually reminds me, I'm rereading a book called God Works Through Faith by Robert Russell. So just here. And something I read this morning is he says, success reduced to its lowest and simplest terms is faith expressed in action. And I think that's what
Mm,
you're referring to, right? Like we
yes,
need to have the
exactly.
faith, we need to have the belief, but then
Yeah,
we also need to take action
yeah,
on that faith, whether it's
yes,
right or wrong. Like it's going to lead us down. Maybe sometimes we make the wrong, quote unquote, decision, the wrong
yeah.
choice. Maybe we make a mistake. And I think that's how we learn. But
Mhm.
nevertheless, we need to take action in order to manifest that success. And you are one to take action a lot. So maybe tell me a little bit about how that works for you. Like how do you set your goals and then how do you just take the action even if you're like, I don't actually know where this is going to take me, or maybe I'm a little bit worried about this working out or not working out. Like how do you still do the action?
Well, I went through this long phase of just God putting things in my path, putting people, putting opportunities in my path. And I was like, oh, wow, this is cool. Like, where you literally feel like I can just like go out to the grocery store or take my son to preschool or go to his soccer game, and these amazing people and opportunities are going to land in my lap. Like, I went through a phase where that kept happening to me, and it was very clear the path I was supposed to take. At least it was for me, because I was just like, oh, this is obviously meant to happen. And things don't always turn out the way you think they're going to in the beginning, and there's a different reason for why you met that person or took that opportunity. Um, Now I forget the question, but yeah, basically that happened for a long time, and then all of a sudden I started just trying new things. So I had these ideas. Again, maybe God was like, "Hey, why don't you do this?" And then the idea popped into my head, however you want to describe that. For example, how to market a book that I was writing. So I was writing a book called Money and the 39 Forever Mom, a personal finance book for moms. I was working at a large international investment firm at the time. I learned all these things, come through all these amazing experiences that were placed in my life. And I had also taken that new knowledge, that high-end financial knowledge, and of course compared it and blended it with all the funny, financial screw up stories from before that, and wanted to write a book about it because I had hired a business coach who had written a book, and I was doing all these things. And I guess the point of the story is that I went through a phase where I just started trying anything and everything that seemed like it would work, and some of it did. And then I created a marketing school to teach everybody the stuff that worked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, that's faith through action, right? Because you had this belief that, hey, I know that I can help people. I know I want to do something. I know I'm being called to do something. I don't really know what it is,
Yeah.
but I'm going to first start by becoming aware of the opportunities that are coming to me through God, right? Like that's action, becoming aware and then saying yes to those opportunities and then trying new things. Like those are all action things. And then also looking at it and saying, okay, well, which ones are working? What are my lessons that I'm learning? And
Mhm.
each one of those steps and decisions is taking you to the next step and the next decision. And I think
Yeah.
that's the action, right? We can't
Yeah.
just sit at home doing meditation, although I think
Yeah.
that's really critical. Like we need to
It's
meditate and
helpful.
we need to
Yeah.
pray, we need to get inward and silent and quiet and listen to ourselves. But then we need to get off our butts
Yeah.
and open up the door and go into the world and do things. And something you said to me a while ago, which I've really been leaning into, is you said the the role of an entrepreneur, the job of an entrepreneur is to always experiment and try new things and do things differently all the time. Because I like consistency and I like routine, and you know that about me. And I think those things are really awesome, but it's also about trying new things and
Yeah.
experimenting and failing and then doing it again differently and then, doing something else the next time, right? And just kind of keep
Yeah.
trying until things happen. So anyways, I love that. What's been your biggest lesson as you step into this new chapter of your life, living life in Mexico over the winters? Like, what have you learned in the last little while?
My biggest lesson has been I really and I started learning this actually before I came to Mexico this past summer. Broke up with my boyfriend in April, started spending a lot of time alone. And it turns out that I really like myself. It turns out that I really enjoy my own company. So that's been a big lesson, that I can
Mm,
really thrive by being alone. I am super creative. I get really cool ideas, a lot of which are probably placed on my heart and in my brain by God, because I'm supposed to be of use. I'm supposed to be out there inspiring, my women entrepreneur audience to be better and do more. And I really just want to inspire them to be more confident, to confidently do the things that are in their brain, because so many women entrepreneurs are so stuck in their head and they don't do anything. They just overthink everything and they don't do anything. And I know I'm really good at helping them build some confidence so they can do things. But yeah, I think that the when I'm alone, even though I'm alone and literally all I do is maybe grab my phone and make a video of something that's popped into my head, or a story that I just remembered that happened 5 years ago that I know has a great gold nugget in it for their marketing that they can take and use in their marketing. I literally can go for days like that and not even talk to another human, and I great and I love it. And it's not that I don't like people, but I am just like really getting quite comfortable being
mhm. That's awesome. And I love that you don't overthink things. And why do you think women specifically overthink things and don't put into action the things they're thinking about?
I really feel like it's because they were raised a certain way, and I was blessed to have a mother that was like, "Do the talent show. Here, I'll pay for singing lessons. You're on the basketball team. Go on the tournament." even though I was the bench warmer of the team. She was like, paid for my piano lessons. My mom was like, you can do it, you can do it. She was very excited about more like the musical performance sort of stuff. But through that, I gained confidence and like, oh my God, I remember like thinking I was going to have a heart attack more than one time when I had to get out of my chair when they called my name and walk up to play my song on the piano. And then I even got conned into doing it at church a couple times. I had played the piano at church, just about passed out. Like the nerves were insane. I was in 4-H and I actually managed to dodge the public speaking event. Like they have this one big public speaking event of the year and I managed to just not go. And I don't know, I think I was just like, public speaking? That sounds horrible, like and terrible and terrifying. Like I'm not doing that. I would rather die. And so I was just like, I'm not going. And I had another job. So I went and worked at the gas station instead. I was like, I have to work. Sorry, can't go. But my mom was really not happy with me about that. But when I was young, I gained a lot of confidence. And then through my teen years, I went into a place of very, just very concerned about what other people thought of me. And I was very nervous to put myself out there. And I was still outgoing, but not like I had been when I was younger. And then it took me kind of getting in, like, becoming a mom and realizing that I can do anything and starting businesses. And then I kind of got back into that little girl that I was that could sing in front of people and like to perform and like to, do plays and things like that and play sports and just get out there and do things and like allow people to see. Like being seen is the biggest fear that most women have. And then they try to have a business and it's like, you have to be seen and you have to get over that because it's really not that scary. But I get it. We're scared of being seen because we've all got memories of things that happened to us because we put ourselves out there and we got shut down or we got ignored or we got ridiculed. And so we just have to remember that that's not going to happen all the time. And we're adults now, so we just don't give a fuck, Pardon my French, but we just don't care anymore.
Yeah. Do you have, I know you do, you probably have lots of different, stories of success of your clients, but do you have one that you want to share where you've really helped someone like step into that spotlight and really help them, lean into their confidence?
I want to shout out to Sally Loftus, who she recently just sent me her marketing numbers for the last year. So she was looking at, how many Instagram followers, how many, LinkedIn connections, her YouTube channel engagement and followers and stuff like that. And so she sent me like all of the increased numbers and she was like, thank you so much for helping me with this, which is so cool. So we've been working together for over a year now and she wanted to write a book. So she was on my podcast. And she works in HR and she specifically has a ton of experience working with nonprofits. And both her and her husband have worked in the nonprofit world forever since I think they kind of grew up in it. Their parents were in that world too. And so she wrote her book. I helped her write her book. It was a really fantastic experience. She did it in, I think, just a little over 4 months. So right on time. And right on time, meaning I have a 4-month writing program and she completed it and did everything. And it was really cool. And she lives in North Carolina and then the Hurricane Helene hit. And when Hurricane Helene hit, we shifted gears and I started asking her questions about things that I was really not sure if she'd be comfortable with answering in videos. But I was like, these are the questions that people, like, especially people here in Canada who have no idea what you're going through, we're wondering this. And we're seeing weird stuff on YouTube, like, can you confirm or deny these rumors and myths? And so she started making videos and she did an amazing job of creating all sorts of videos on Instagram and YouTube. And she thanked me a number of times throughout that process. She was like, I have you in my ear saying, how can I add value today? How can I create a video that's going to help people today? How can I create a video that's going to spread joy or at least information that's helpful today? And so she would kind of get in a bit of a rut and then she would get out and she would make a video and she did a really great job. So I feel like she's been a huge client success story for me. She's just one of those women who's like, okay, yeah. Like I'll be like, yeah, you should do this. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Like she's just always game. And she gets shit done and she doesn't make excuses and yeah, she's just amazing. And she's been through a crazy experience like Hurricane Helene, for those of you who don't know or somehow missed that because maybe that was not supposed to be very widely known for some reason, but It was awful. Like,
Mhm.
way more people died than anyone realizes. It was horrible. It wiped out so many homes. The devastation that she's seeing in her community is just in the beginning phases. It's going to be a huge recovery. So, um, she's just an amazing person, and she's used her marketing skills to raise a ton of money to help the people in her community.
Well, and I feel like you really helped her step into her true purpose as well, in terms of kind of kind of getting over, not that she was really nervous about getting on video because she's done video, but just kind of getting over the, I'm going to be vulnerable here, and leaning into helping other people and
Mhm.
having that be her purpose. Like, I'm here to help other people, and I feel that that's your main client base, is women who really want to help others but
Yeah.
have to get over whatever doubts or insecurities or whatever's holding them back. And I think that that's really beautiful, because we need more women who are stepping into that and really leaning into their purpose and helping women regardless of how they feel, and just
Yeah.
knowing that what they're doing is really important and really critical. For we need more women who are doing amazing things, because that's there's that
Mhm.
ripple effect that's happening, and we need more of that in the world right now. We need more
Yeah.
energized, confident, purpose-led women who are helping the world become a better place. So thank you for doing that, and for, stepping into your purpose through that. So I guess
Well,
what I
thank
really
you.
Well,
Thank you for saying that. But before you go into what you have planned next, I want to take this moment to thank you for creating the Fempreneur Collective group that I've had the pleasure of being a part of for the last year and a bit. And I know you had a mixer event in Calgary that I wasn't able to be at, but that group and the connections and the conversations, even though it was a little bumpy at times for me, overall it was hugely beneficial. I loved it. You gave so much to us. You inspired us. You helped the women in that group do more and be more confident than they would have ever done. And so thank you. And I know that you've opened that group up to others.
Mhm.
So this would be a good time to probably share a bit about that with your listeners, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, one of my core values is connection and community. And so bringing women together to support one another, same as you, Lyndsie, is really, really important to me. And I've seen the power of that in my own life, coming together in community with like minded people who really are focused on creating an impact in the world. I've seen such a powerful change in me by being part of community like that, like yours and other communities. And I want to bring women together to, share ideas and learn and grow from one another. There's so much wisdom that we have as a collective that we can tap into, and that we can help each other get remotivated, get re-inspired, tap into that faith, because sometimes it does ebb and flow, and we need to have people that are supporting us in believing in ourselves and in really, pursuing our pathway towards purpose. So yeah, I have a couple of different things coming up. One is the Fempreneur Success Collective. On January the 16th, we're having a free workshop at the A2B Entrepreneur Center. So it's in person. It's going to be amazing. I already have quite a number of women signed up for that. So that's going to be really fantastic. And then I'm also having a free workshop in February on Valentine's Day, actually. It's called Three Ways to Tap into Your Heart's Desire. So we're going to be talking about how to really follow your intuition. And that's going to be a free online workshop this time, so that more women can attend from all over the place. So thank you for allowing me to share that. And if you're interested, check out createyourbestchapter.com. So, Lyndsie, before we close out, I really want to ask you, what words of wisdom would you like to share with women who are in the midst of creating their own chapter, or who are really looking to start their new chapter as we head into the new year here?
I think trust in yourself and just remembering to trust in yourself is going to be the number one game changer for you, whether you're in the beginning phases of a new chapter or you feel like there's a new chapter coming. Trusting in yourself is huge. You are more wise than you could ever even realize. And the more you pay attention to your own wisdom and to those inklings that maybe God is putting on your heart, or whoever you want to say is doing it, if you pay attention to that, you'll be amazed at how guided you really are. You are being guided down a path to make an impact on others' lives and to feel tons of joy and fulfillment. That's not to say that we're not going to have, heartache and health challenges and things along the way, but we are also going to feel a lot more fulfillment because we've put ourselves out there and we've done things that a lot of people just aren't willing to do. So if you're feeling called to do things, I think the other thing is, um, you have to trust that that is meant for you. You really do, because if you don't, it's going to keep you up at night. You're probably going to feel like a failure. You're going to regret maybe not saying yes to that opportunity. Um, you really just have to trust in yourself, and you've got to get around people that have that philosophy in their lives too. If you're around people who are very scared, very fear-based, who watch the news, you got to get away from them, and you got to get some new friends. You got to go to Vera's events and join Vera's group.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And what do you hope to create for yourself this year? What's the one thing that you're
Well,
looking
I'm
to
so
create?
excited to talk about this. I'll try to be fast. I have a very clear vision for 2025, and it's really simple. It's rinse and repeat what has been working for me for the last decade. And what has been working for me is running my marketing school. My next Fempreneur marketing school is starting up in February, and it's like a really cool experience for 6 women. I keep the group really small. They get a mix of group and one-on-one coaching. I'm giving them marketing tasks, marketing to-dos, marketing ideas. They're getting that tailored advice for their own business. So that's worked for me. I started running marketing school in 2019. February of 2019 was my first group when they wrapped up. And I've just continued doing that ever since, because it's how I find people like you. And even though you didn't come to me through marketing school, you came to me through an event that I held with some women that had graduated from my marketing school. And I put on an event and brought some speakers in, and there was Vera, and I was like, "Ooh, I've been seeing her on LinkedIn and Instagram for a year, and now she's here in person." And then we ran off into the sunset holding hands. But anyways, my 2025 is all about rinsing and repeating what has worked. And that's a huge part of it. The other thing that has worked for me is creating really valuable free content. And so I am about to create 25 videos, 25 Instagram, mostly Instagram marketing videos. They're going to be Instagram marketing prompts, and they're going to be completely free on YouTube. So back in 2022, I launched my 22-day Instagram marketing challenge, which has been a huge success, and it's been a really great free tool. It funnels people into my marketing school and into working with me, of course. But as a standalone thing, if people don't work with me, they get a ton of value because I share a lot of my best marketing tips in there. They don't get the tailored advice. They don't get to hang out with me, but they get some pretty cool information for free on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, search up Lyndsie Barrie on YouTube and subscribe. The other reason why you're going to be glad you did that is I post a lot of videos lately about my dog and about my new life in Mexico. A lot of people want to come and spend a winter in Playa del Carmen, and they're worried about bringing their dog here because they're not sure, can I get the food that I'm going to need? Like, what's it like doing the plane and the airport and the customs when I land in Cancun? I've made videos about all of that stuff, and I have a whole list of videos that I'm going to be making. So the other thing that I'm rinsing, repeating in 2025 is blending my work stuff, like my marketing stuff, with just what I'm up to, what I'm into, the new things that are going on in my life. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs get very tunnel visiony, and they're like, I've just got to talk about my business online all the time, business, business, business. And they forget that people are buying you, the human, so they want to know what you're up to and what you're into. So my YouTube channel is a blend of marketing stuff, great marketing tips, MailChimp stuff. I've got lots of great MailChimp information on there. Anything new and awesome that I learned that saves me tons of time, I make a video about it and post it on there to help you with your business and your marketing. And it shows you what I'm up to right now and what I'm learning about living here in Mexico with my dog. So that's hopefully going to answer your question.
That's amazing. And what's the best place for people to connect with you?
Definitely Instagram at YYC Fempreneurs.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll put that in the show notes. And I think I see where our one on one coaching is going to be going. You're going to be inviting me to maybe talk more about what I'm up to non business related. So stay
Yeah.
tuned for that, everyone.
Yay!
Thank you so much for being my guest today. I know this is your second appearance on my podcast, but this is my first episode of season 4 of my podcast. So thank you so much for coming on board and sharing your bold words of wisdom to help
Thank
women
you.
really up level their life in 2025. So thank you so much, Lyndsie.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's going to be a great year.
Yes, it is.